Have you ever noticed how a small thing can completely change your mood? One right text, one delayed reply, one shift in tone, and suddenly your whole day feels ruined. Have you ever become emotionally so attached to someone that their attention started controlling your peace? Or maybe not even a person, maybe a dream, a version of your future, a plan, an outcome. And no matter how much you try to stop caring, your mind keeps going back to it, replaying conversations, creating scenarios, overthinking tiny details, holding on to something so tightly that the fear of losing it starts consuming you. I think a lot of us call this love or ambition or caring deeply, but sometimes it's attachment. Hi, I'm Karishma, aka Kohi Bonza. Recently, I have been thinking a lot about attachment. Why we get attached so easily? Why letting go feelings feels emotionally painful sometimes? Why your mind obsesses over people, outcomes, and imagined futures? And most importantly, why detachment is often misunderstood. It doesn't mean not loving people, and it definitely doesn't mean pretending not to care. And honestly, I'm still learning this too. So this video isn't coming from a place of I figured it all out. It's more like I researched this because I needed it myself. I think detachment is the ability to experience life fully without trying to control every outcome. It's understanding that you can deeply care about something without attaching your entire identity, worth, or peace to it. Attachment says, I need this to happen in order to feel okay. But detachment says, I can still be okay even if my life unfolds differently. And that applies to so many things beyond relationships: career, success, social media, validation, friendships, appearance, productivity, even the version of ourselves we thought we would become by a certain age. A lot of us emotionally attached to timelines too. We imagine how life should look, what age we should have everything figured out, how successful we should be, how healed we should be, how loved we should feel. And when reality doesn't match the version in our head, we feel like we are failing in life. Not because we actually are failing, but because we became attached to a specific outcome. And social media intensifies this so much because now we constantly see edited versions of people's lives. And even when we know it's curated, our brain still absorbs it. So we start attaching our self worth to achievements, attention, aesthetics, productivity, and how our life appears from the outside. And slowly life stops feeling like something we experience and it starts feeling like something we perform. We confuse control with safety. We think if I overthink enough, I'll prevent pain. If I stay hyper aware, I'll stay prepared. If I control everything perfectly, nothing will go wrong. But hyper control is exhausting because life is naturally uncertain. People change their minds, people plans fail, unexpected things happen. Sometimes opportunities leave, sometimes new ones arrive. Sometimes life completely changes direction when we least expect it. And detachment is not about pretending those things don't hurt. It's about learning that pain and uncertainty are survivable. That your life does not end when things change. That your identity is bigger than one failure. Now, how to actually practice detachment? Because understanding something logically is one thing, but applying it when your emotions are involved, that's hard part, especially when your mind is used to overthinking, holding on tightly, safety in control. The first step is learning how to separate your thoughts from facts. Because our minds create stories constantly. Someone replies late and suddenly your brain says they are losing interest. You fail once and suddenly your brain says my future is ruined. One awkward interaction and suddenly everyone hates me. But thoughts are not always reality. Emotionally attached people often treat every feeling like a fact, which is exhausting. So sometimes detachment starts with simply pausing and asking, is this actually true or is this fear talking? The second thing I think helps is creating a life outside the thing you are attached to. Because attachment becomes dangerous when one thing becomes your entire emotional world. One person, one goal, one routine, one version of life. That's why people lose themselves so easily. Their happiness becomes dependent on one source, and the moment that source becomes unstable, everything feels unstable. So, detachment sometimes looks like rebuilding your relationship with yourself. Finding hobbies again, making memories outside one person, creating routines, going outside, learning things, taking care of yourself, taking care of your body, building a life that still feels meaningful even when certain things change. I also think we need to stop romanticizing emotional suffering. Overthinking, waiting, constant anxiety, emotional dependency. But love should not constantly feel like panic. Dreams dreams should not destroy your mental health, and your self-worth should not disappear every time life becomes uncertain. Another thing I realized is detachment requires sitting with discomfort. We keep chasing answers simply because uncertainty feels unbearable. We want closure immediately, reassurance immediately, results immediately. You can survive endings, you can survive being misunderstood, you can survive change. That realization changes you. Nervous system regulation matters more than people realize. Attachment is not just emotional, it's physical too. Your body gets addicted to stress, to checking, to waiting, to analyzing. That's why calming your nervous system genuinely helps. Walking, music, sleeping, journaling, breathing properly, moving your body, limiting constant stimulation, spending time offline, all of these things matter. Because a regulated nervous system makes it easier to let go. Attachment is realizing you cannot control life into becoming safe forever. You can only learn to trust yourself enough to handle change when it comes. And maybe peace was never about controlling every outcome. Maybe peace comes from knowing no matter what happens, you will still have yourself. So before ending this video, I want to leave you with a few things that genuinely help me practice detachment in my life. First, stop making one thing your entire identity. Second, separate your fears from actual facts. Third, let people and situations reveal themselves naturally instead of forcing clarity. Fourth, build a life that feels meaningful outside validation and attention. Fifth, accept that uncertainty is part of being human. Sixth, learn to hold things gently instead of gripping them tightly. Because the tighter we hold on to things, the more afraid we become of losing them. If this video resonated with you, or if you have been struggling with attachment, overthinking, anxiety, or letting go, you can share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more videos where we decode people, internet culture, emotions, healing, and random life realizations, you can subscribe to the channel. We are basically trying to deal with human emotions together. Bye bye.